for Stan Turnant. He had been hoping that the mercurial Glenn Little would play a part. He's had muscle spasms. He had a fitness test before about an hour ago now. He has failed it, so he won't be playing at all. Bit of a blow for Burnley. And here's how they line up. Here's the team that Stan Turnant has picked. And in goal, Nicholas Mikopoulos. That's £1 a letter, his replica shirt, an expensive Christmas gift. Signed on a free from PAOK Salonika. Loads of experience, as I said, in the side, including 3 Mitchell Thomas, now 36, 28 Kevin Ball in his 18th year as a pro, back after a ban, and also Paul Cook at 8 and Mickey Mellon at 4, over 900 appearances between them. They're 2 of 4 ex-Tranmere players, by the way. The others 15 Graham Branch, also returning from suspension, and record signing 16 Ian Moore, who got his first goal for the club last week. And he'll be alongside the evergreen Andy Payton. Now, he's scored the winner in an Old Firm derby in his day, but as a lifelong Burnley fanatic, a goal today would surely be the pinnacle of his career. As for Blackburn Rovers, let's have a look at them. And they make 3 changes from the draw against QPR. Back from local lad David Dunn after a ban. He was a schoolboy here at Burnley. 28 Martin Taylor is in for hamstring victim Craig Short. And 5 Stig Inge Bjornaby returns. He's recovered from a similar injury. Bjornaby, one of a number of this lot who would have been interested spectators in terms of the Manchester United-Liverpool game on the way here. 2 John Curtis, 9 Mark Hughes, and the new permanent signing 21 Henning Berg, former United players. Bjornaby, 4 Jason McAteer, keeper Brad Friedel, ex-Liverpool, as of course was boss Graham Souness. And amongst the subs, another former Tranmere player, that's Alan Mann, who had that disastrous spell at Sporting Lisbon, but he's back here on loan until the end of the season. That's it, Marcus, back to you.
Alan, thank you very much indeed. Let's briefly have a look at the highlights from Division 2 yesterday, starting with the big game between 3rd and 1st, as they were, Millwall and Walsall. It's all changed now. Millwall have gone top after a 2-0 win in front of nearly 12,000, the largest attendance of the season. First goal, 6 minutes, Mark Bircham.
Good finish, wasn't it?
Very good finish, and they're full of confidence at the moment. Millwall's second goal came after 47. It's a run and cross from Paul Ifield. Little head back by Neil Harris, who I read in one paper this week is being linked with Inter Milan. And Stephen Reid finished things off. By the way, Walsall had to wear Millwall's away kit because they'd left theirs behind, would you believe it? Now, Wigan are unbeaten in 15 in all competitions. They played Wycombe yesterday. They were in front after 4 minutes through Simon Howarth. Such a consistent goal scorer for them. Andy Little's little flick on. There's then a disallowed goal in the second half for Howarth. It doesn't take an Einstein to work out why it was disallowed.
He's playing basketball.
he still tried to look innocent, but the referee was having none of it.
Thing to do, Mark, because he's got one of his own players standing behind him. He's actually just cancelled out his chance of scoring.
Up the other end, Sam Parkin did score to make it 1 apiece.
Terrific finish as well from Sam.
But only 1 league win in 7 for Wycombe. They have been struggling recently, and 4 minutes from time they conceded another goal. It's a little bit of luck perhaps with this, Neil Roberts, or do we give him all the credit?
I think it's a cross, Marcus, but we'll give him the goal and won the game, so he won't mind, will he?
He won't. Millwall back on top for the 3rd time this season on goal difference from Wigan, with Walsall slipping down to 3rd. Rotherham lost 2-1 at Swindon. Reading went down 3-2 at Notts County. But Bristol City won 2-1 at Port Vale. And a Peter Thorne hat-trick inspired Stoke to a 3-0 win at Bristol Rovers. A ray of hope for Oxford after a 3-1 home win against Northampton. Luton were crushed 3-0 at home by Colchester. Swansea stay 22nd after a 2-0 defeat at Bournemouth, and Port Vale slip into the drop zone after that setback at the hands of Bristol City. There was a rare defeat for Chesterfield, the 3rd division leaders. They were at Southend yesterday. Southend on a high after winning the Jellied Eels FA Cup derby against Canvey Island the week before. Chesterfield in front though after 2 minutes. Luke Beckett, who keeps popping up with goals for them, helped himself to another one. But Southend are enjoying themselves under David Webb. And from Scott Forbes' corner, Ben Abbey equalised. That was after just 4 minutes, so pretty explosive start to the game. Shortly before half-time, Forbes turned from provider to goal scorer.
God, that was a great finish,
Wasn't it?
One of the best finishes of the day, I thought that.
And then 2 goals in the last couple of minutes. Southend made sure of the points. Ben Abbey taking advantage of a mistake by Steve Payne. That's another good finish.
Yeah, very nicely done.
Does well to win it in the first place there, doesn't he? And a good finish.
And in the very last minute, Luke Beckett pulled another one back for Chesterfield at the 2nd attempt. Couldn't really miss that. But it didn't matter. Southend held on. And Leyton Orient picked up 3 more important points against the Darlington side. They've now lost 5 of their last 6. The only goal came 7 minutes from time, a 25-yard effort from Scott Houghton, formerly of Spurs, of course. Now, despite their defeat, Chesterfield remained 6 points clear at the top because nearest rivals Brighton slipped up at Mansfield, losing 2-0. Orient's win means they're now only 3 points behind the Seagulls. Rob Earnshaw was on target for Cardiff again in their 3-1 win against Cheltenham, taking them up to 4th. Rochdale drew 1-1 at Lincoln. Southend are up to 7th, and Barnet are 9th after a Tony Cotty hat-trick helped them to a 4-2 win over Scunthorpe. At the bottom, Carlisle lost 1-0 at Macclesfield. Halifax lost 1-0 at home to Hartlepool. Exeter went down 3-0 at Blackpool, so Torquay move above them after their first away win of the season, 2-1 at Hull. We are right up to date with the 3 nationwide divisions. It's all about the East Lancashire derby after the break. Burnley and Blackburn locking horns again for the first time in 17 years. They've been patient, but they can barely contain their excitement now. 3 points at stake, but of course, much more than that as well. Do you fancy some FA Cup action? The second round replay between Leyton Orient and Northwich Victoria from 7:30 on Sky Sports 2. The mighty Tottenham Hotspur awaiting the winners of that in round 3. Burnley against Blackburn today. Reminder, our game is interactive. Here's how that works. Once you've pressed the red button on your remote control, the menu bar will give you your options. During the live game, you'll still be able to access the normal camera angles, full screen this season. And now Player Cam is available side by side with the main coverage. And Fan Zone gives you a chance to hear what the supporters think. Shouting on Burnley will be Kevin Holden, who is a 40-something and old enough to say that Frank Casper is his favourite player of all time. Ted McIntyre says his favourite footballing moment was when Mike Newell scored against Derby in the 1992 playoff semi-final. Good to see those two sitting next to each other. Let's hope the fists don't fly a little bit later. A pretty strong possibility that Andy Payton will be one of the people under the gaze of the player cam today. He is very much Burnley's main man. Local lad as well, as Alan mentioned during the team news, so how he would love to score the winner today. 33 years of age now. As you can see, 545 career appearances, 218 goals in that time. Not a bad record, Ray.
At any level, Marcus, and Andy scored goals up in Scotland as well. And as you mentioned before, he scored one in an Old Firm derby. We'll see him here. Latches onto the ball. Like all good strikers, he hits the target. That's a super finish, 2-footed as well, which gives him half a chance because he's not the biggest guy in the world, I've got to say. But when you can go both sides, it's a real plus for him. They are good run across the near post, good header. You don't have to be the tallest as long as you get across in front of people.
He came on a free from Huddersfield in January '98, 33 years of age now, but it's interesting, Nigel, how some strikers seem to develop and really find their very best form at a relatively mature stage of their career.
Well, they do, but I think Andy's really scored goals all his career. From when he was a young lad starting at Hull, he scored goals all the way through up to the highest level playing for Celtic. But I think he's enjoying his football at Burnley. It's his hometown club. And he just enjoys winning football matches for them at Turf Moor because they're so strong at home, and most of it is down to his goal-scoring ability.
27 last season, leading scorer this season. Alongside him, the club's record signing, Ian Moore. He cost £1 million, former England youth and under-21 international, been at Tranmere, Forest and Stockport. Already played 198 career games, only 38 goals in that time. That statistic surprised me a little bit, Nigel.
Yeah, I thought he would have scored more than that. But he did very well at Tranmere and then got transferred for big money off to Nottingham Forest, where he had a wretched time there and didn't really get settled. But ended up going back to a smaller club like Stockport, similar to Tranmere really in that sense. He's done well again, and now he's moved on to a big club, or, you know, historically anyway, a big club in Burnley. and they've paid £1 million for him, and that's a lot of money for them at the moment. So they'd be wanting to see him putting the ball in the back of the net like Andy Payton. So they've got 2 players and rely on 2 players scoring.
And briefly, Ray, the other thing that worries me a little bit about him, particularly bearing in mind the importance of this game, he does occasionally see the red mist. Do you remember that one tackle last season where he got fined by the FA afterwards? He's guilty occasionally of that sort of thing, isn't he?
I think all footballers are guilty of that at some stage, Marcus. I sincerely hope he keeps his head because he's got a lot of pace, and I think with Payton they could form a quite devastating partnership at that level. We've just been waiting for him to kickstart his career once again. He was very, very good at Tranmere, and as Nigel said, he had a bit of a dodgy time. But thankfully now his experience at Stockport, where he was different class, will carry him through at Burnley as well, and I hope so, because he's still only a young guy.
He is. He's only 24. Let's hear from his manager, Stan Ternent, is now talking to Alan Bentley.
Stan, we'll talk about the game in a moment or two, but first of all, how would you assess your form and the progress you're making this season?
Players have done very well. We've never lost 2 games back-to-back, touch wood, and after today's match we're on an even break of 11 away and 11 at home, and at the moment we've got 38 points and we're 7th in the division, so all in all they've done extremely well.
I mean, having been promoted, have you surpassed your own expectations?
I think it would be fair to say that I've been pleasantly surprised, but the squad of players I have are quite experienced and good players, so perhaps I shouldn't be too surprised about it all.
And what about today? I mean, what does this game mean to the people of Burnley?
Well, it means such a lot to them because both clubs have been at the opposite ends of the scale. Burnley had to win a game to stay in the divisions, and since we last played, Blackburn have been Premiership champions. So today we play them on a level playing field, so it means such a lot certainly to the Burnley fans.
Now, there's going to be a lot of passion and commitment out there, but do you need to keep a lid on it in some respects as to?
No, I think derby matches are how they are, and there's a lot of pride at stake. But from our point of view, the most important thing for us is that if we can win this game, we go back into the top 6. So we'll be trying our best on that one. Now, derby matches are notoriously competitive, and I don't expect today will be any different. So as long as it's played in the right spirit and everyone remembers that it's a game of football, then that's something to be looked forward to.
Thanks a lot, Stan. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers.
He's such a kindly fellow. He reminds me of sort of an avuncular professor type, and yet he's had a wonderful career at Burnley and before that at Bury. What's the secret of Stan Ternant's success, Nigel?
Well, I think being well organised and getting people to work hard, and that's the basics for any side to be successful. But he gets the best out of his players. He knows a player. He's got a lot of experience at the club, which he relies on most of the time. He doesn't bring the youngsters in so much, but he's got a good bunch of older players, and they're doing their stuff for him. And he's got them well organised, well drilled, and playing extremely well at home.
He knows his defence will have to watch out for Blackburn's main man today, Marcus Bent. 22 years of age, cost 1.3 million from Sheffield United recently. 5 goals in 19 games this season, both for United and for Blackburn. Now here's another interesting stat, Nigel. 172 league appearances, 34 goals. He says he likes to play down the middle. I know at times he's been pushed out wide. But again, have we got another player here who needs to start scoring a few more goals?
Well, he scored 15 goals in 32 appearances for Sheffield United last season, which is nearly 1 in every 2 games. And I think he's, at that age now, he's 22, he's got his best years in front of him. And I think that's what Graham Souness has seen when he's had injuries to strikers. I thought, well, this lad is putting the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis. And Ray and I touched on it yesterday. We said that we think Sheffield United are going to miss him in a big way. And they did yesterday because he's got goals in him. He's quick, he's strong. He gets in where it hurts in that 6-yard box and around the penalty spot there. And he gets in, he throws himself in there with his head, with his feet. And I think he was playing at the top of his game for Sheffield United. He's just got to start trying to find some of that form for Blackburn now and do it quickly. He's got a very experienced player up front with him, Mark Hughes, who will help him along. And he can feed off Mark, because the one thing with Sparky is if the ball comes into him, he'll get hold of it. It's amazing how he controls it. I don't think he even knows how he controls it so well. We used to see him in training whacking balls into him and say, how do you do that? He said, well, just naturally. He doesn't really know. So he'll know that if it goes into Mark Hughes, he can feed off him, or Mark will be knocking little things off for him to get on the end of.
Well, he's yet to score for Rovers. Marcus Bent, what a day to score his first one. David Dunn is another player who is really looking forward to this one. He's a local lad, still only 20, 10 goals this season, 6 of them penalties. And as a local lad, a bit like Andy Payton, he knows exactly what this fixture is all about,
Yeah,
Ray, doesn't he?
He does, Marcus, yeah, and he looks a very, very good prospect as well, I've got to say, and in a good midfield four as well. McAteer, Flickcroft himself and Duff, and that's a very, very strong midfield section, and he is blossomed into a very good talent at the moment. He's obviously got a lot of learning to do and a lot of growing to do as a player.
He works hard and gets forward as well. And I was speaking to James Beattie yesterday, who's obviously a teammate of his at Blackburn, who's now at Southampton, and he was saying, I wish I was playing in this game today with David Dunn, because he knows what it means.
You were out clubbing with him at 3 o'clock in the morning. We won't go into that, Nigel.
Not at all, mate. He's a clean living lad.
Let us instead hear from Graham Souness, another very clean living lad. He's now talking to Alan.
Graham, you've experienced so many derbies in so many parts of the country, so many parts of the world, but what about the rivalry up here?
Well, normally in a derby situation, they talk about it the week before, and in this one, they've been talking about it really since Burnley got promoted at the end of last season. There's been a lot of talk about it really since then, and that's a new experience for me.
I mean, is there a danger that these things can get overhyped in some respects?
I think so, and I think the managers and the players have a part to play in that. That we'll have to remind people it is about football. It's a game of football, and hopefully it's a good game of football, and one that people will remember for just that, and not for anything else.
What about your current form? Because the results suggest there's been a slight blip of late. Has there been a problem?
Well, not a problem. The problem is, I think when we went on a run, and people would ask, "What's the difference between now and before?" And I said, "Well, just maybe we're carrying a wee bit of luck that we weren't before, and certainly our last 3 games where we've lost at home to Gillingham, which we should never have done, and drawn to, these are games that we should have taken maximum points from. But I'm a believer that over a season your luck does even itself out. I'm looking for us today to get back to winning ways. It won't be easy for us here today because Burnley obviously are very strong at home. It's a derby game, the form book goes out the window. But we're very close to each other in the league at the moment, and it's a big game for both clubs.
Of course, it's very important, the 3 points, to keep both sides up there.
Yeah, we're both very close, but there's still, I think, 70 odd points to play for, so there's a lot of football still to be played. But there's prestige. It means a lot to the people in Blackburn and people in Burnley. And I know that Burnley have been making noises about, we're happy just to be in this league, but I think right now Stan and the staff and the players will believe that they can go up in 1 year from the second to the Premier. They certainly have a chance of that, and we hopefully today will get the 3 points and make it more difficult for them to do that.
Thanks a lot, Graham. Thank you.
He loves this sort of occasion. Now, Nigel, you have no excuse. You don't live in East Lancashire, so don't sit on the fence. Who's going to win this one?
I'm going to go for an away win today. I think, looking at the two sides, I think it's time for Burnley to lose one at home, but for Blackburn, I think their side looks very solid. Marcus Bent, Mark Hughes up front, they've got a nice balance in midfield, and they've got experience as well. So I think on this big occasion, I'm going to go for an away win.
Raymond?
Me too. I think sometimes these big games will depend on one player, and I think in Mark Hughes, no one will be more competitive, but he's top quality.
Excellent. Our match commentators on this very special occasion are Brian Marwood and Rob Hawthorne.
Well, the number 17 has had special significance on the advent calendars of these East Lancashire rivals, for it's the day that marks their first head-to-head in more than 17 and a half years, and it could bring the pre-Christmas bonus of a win to gloat over. Burnley are able to call again on the services of Kevin Ball and Graham Branch, who were both suspended for the defeat at Preston. Bradley Mayland drops out along with former Blackburn midfielder Lenny Johnrose, who are on the bench. Striker Ian Moore scored his first goal for the club in the defeat at Deepdale. His partner Andy Payton, a lifelong Burnley fan, is desperate to have a positive impact on the outcome today.
Well, Stan Turnan's side has been so successful this season, so well organised. 3 centre-halves, a lot of experience. Davies, Cox and Thomas. Well, will look forward on this right-hand side as Branch will on the left. But really, Kevin Ball, I think, is such a key to this Burnley team. He keeps them organised, very strong, very determined, and perhaps just the sort of player you need for a day like this. Mellon will look to get forward, as Cook will. Cook's got an excellent left foot, especially from set pieces. And of course, the front two. Payton has been such a predator throughout his career, and Moore will look to get the ball and run at people, but they need the right sort of service, and they certainly need that service into their feet.
Blackburn's completion of the purchase of Henning Berg from Manchester United was vital, with Craig Short absent because of hamstring trouble, placing a heavy burden on 21-year-old Martin Taylor. Stiging of Bjornaby's back after injury, and David Dunn, the one local in the Blackburn side, returns after suspension, with the old warhorse Mark Hughes, who played in midfield against Queen's Park Rangers last week, returning to a striking role alongside Marcus Bent.
Well, Nigel was saying in the studio, it's a very solid-looking Blackburn Rovers side. 4-4-2 for Graham Souness, and I guess they're just really trying to settle on some sort of rhythm. Had a very good of October, but unfortunately only won one of their last 5. Curtis Berg, Taylor and Bjornaby, the back 4. McAteer will look to provide width on the right. Fleckcroft and Dunn, 2 excellent passes in there, and Dunn in particular will look to join the front 2. 10 goals already from midfield this season, and Duffel, he's the exciting player, I believe, in their side. He looks to get wide left, and certainly with Burnley set up the way they are doing, that could cause Stan Ternant's men problems. And the front 2, the vastly experienced Mark Hughes, who I believe is perhaps the best leader of the line they have been in this country for the last 10 years, and really just the pace of Marcus Bent.